Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tequila and I make wellness content and all kinds of content for women in their 30s and up who are just wanting to level up in every way and make a difference in their life. I'm a certified wellness coach and I've also been on my own level up journey from the inside out, okay? So y'all, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I just have like this busy brain right now where I just feel like I just want to be productive. There's so much I could do. I feel like there's not enough time in the day. And this is actually something that I preach against. I can see it in my eyes even as I'm recording. Like, I'm so sleepy, but I'm so excited. And so with that being said, I just want to bring this quick video to you. This is going to be telling my story, part 2, my tales and time as a bartender, y'all. So in one of the last videos that I posted, I talked briefly about my time as a flight attendant and why I stopped flight attending. I told you all how I came to own my own business and what happened with COVID and all of that, right? So I said in that video, I was going to follow up with what happened after that. So this is going to be the follow, kind of like a part 2 to that, but for future reference going forward, the stories that I tell are not going to be in a particular order, but this is just one that I've had on my mind and I've wanted to talk about. Oh my gosh, I look so sleepy, but I'm just going to get this video done. So it's not going to be long. I'm just thinking like 10 or 15 minutes just to get this story out there. And the reason why I'm doing this and sharing my content with you all and just telling my story and how I got to where I've gone is, I just know that one person is going to see my messages. I just know that one person is going to resonate with me and the things that I'm saying and all the advice that I'm giving. And even though I'm not perfect, I'm not a millionaire yet, but that's my, that's what I'm on my way to. That is what I'm working towards, right? But there's just somebody who's like one step behind me, 1 or 2 steps behind me. So I've been in lots of places. And I have lots of stories to tell. So that's why I really need to get this information out into the world. And that's why it's called the Tequila Way. I'm sharing my gifts with the world. And y'all, it's just been oozing out of me since. So I know how y'all are on YouTube. Y'all don't like to ramble on. So I'm not going to do that. So continuing with the story. So after COVID, the Blessed Trust ended up becoming a mobile company. And believe it or not, y'all, the Blessed Trust is actually still mobile to this day. You can Google it. Right now, it's still a mobile hair braiding business. We have a great rating on Google. I can't think of, I think it's like a 4.8, 4.9 or something like that. But we have a great rating on Google. And the Blessed Trust is still a mobile company. Now, one of the girls that was working for me at the time, so after COVID had happened, I had like 10 girls that were solid. And then I had like a few floaters, a couple of assistants and whatnot. I even brought on like a few people we have this thing called Career Source here in Florida. I think it's everywhere in the United States, but I know for sure it's here in Florida. So I had like a few assistants with that as well. But when COVID happened and it was time to return to work, most of the girls had either already found other sources of employment. So at this point, we were closed for like 4 or 5 months. And so most of the girls had already found like other alternate sources of employment. So only a couple girls came back to work with me. And one of the girls who came back to work with me, she was also starting up her own hair braiding business. So she was very new. And like I was just saying earlier, I've just always been that person to show you the way. If you're just 1 or 2 steps behind me. Oh, before I go, y'all, this wig is giving, ain't it? You would never believe. This is a synthetic wig, y'all. I got it off Amazon. It was out of my wish list. Someone bought it for me. I had it in my wish list because I had a photo shoot that I was going to do. And I wanted something that would be like a 1-day wear. And this was a messy photo shoot, y'all. So the hair got really, really messy. Again, this is synthetic. It's synthetic. But I washed it and let it air dry. And look, y'all. Beautiful. Beautiful. I only initially wanted to wear it for 1 day, but the more that I wear it, the more it's just growing on me. So check it out in the description below. So yeah, this young lady, she was already starting up her own thing, and she was just like one step behind me. So I was like, look, I'm in a situation because, mind you, hair braiding was never, it was not my dream. My dream was to own my own business. My dream was to have income that I didn't have to work so hard for. But with the girls being gone, my commissions were gone. I was making commissions off the girls because I'm finding them clients. So I'm taking a percentage of each client that they're taking. So that's how I was kind of making residual income. And when you got 7 to 10 girls doing that every day, it was very nice for me, and that was me seeing the fruit of my labor and putting in this hair braiding business. So when this happened, that took that away. So like all the money that I was making at that time, I had to hustle. I had to get up and go to work and braid very hard. And so from like 2020 to 2021, that was some tough time, man. Just like working so hard. I mean, my knees, my hand would literally just like, this hand, I'm not even joking, this is my predominant hand, like it would literally just clamp up on me sometimes, and it was just a mess. So I got to the point where I was just like, okay, I didn't even want to do hair. I just wanted to have a business. So I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm completely over it. So I made an agreement with one of the last ladies standing that was working for me, and I sold her the business, and I agreed to sell her the client list, all of the stuff we had in the salon. I just wanted out. I just wanted to get out, and I agreed to mentor her for years. So in some capacity, I'm still now. I'm to the point where like, okay, I sold the business to her. I mentored her. She's got that ball dribbling so good. I'm so proud of this young lady. Her name is Veronica. She's with. So if you're in the Tampa area, you can book with V's Braiding, or you could book with the Blessed Tress. It all goes back to her. And you could also even book with me. I'm available on there as well, and I still take clients with the Blessed Tress. But from time to time, I still take my own clients, like wherever I am. If I'm, if someone just finds out I do hair, it's more of a word of mouth thing. It's just, it's not what it used to be, but it's something I'm a professional at. I'm very good at braiding. So with that being said, moving forward, I said, okay, I want to break into something else. So one day I was just sitting at home, and this commercial came on TV, a place called River Ranch, and this is a resort. So mind you, I've been a flight attendant for a number of years. So flight attendants are basically like waitresses and bartenders in the sky. But I had never had any high volume bartending experience. But I saw that they were paying $9 an hour for bartenders, which if working in the service industry, and this is a few years ago. Now, 9 is probably standard. 8 or 9 is probably standard. But in the service industry, you only getting paid like $5, $6 an hour. So I saw $9. I was like, dang, that's actually pretty decent. So I went and checked it out, and I applied for bartending. They were looking for experienced bartenders. I just embellished my experience as a flight attendant. I was like, yeah, I have experience doing that. They're like, what's your favorite drink recipe? I'm like, oh, Long Island's. I mean, that's like my favorite thing to drink, but yeah, I can make that. I know exactly how to make that. So with that being said, I just kind of finessed my way through, and I ended up getting the job. And y'all, they started me in the saloon. Now, the good thing is what I realized with bartending. A lot of times when people want their drink, it's just something and something. So like Jack and Coke, vodka, Sprite, Tito's and this. Like it's really just basic drinks. A lot of people are not ordering those specialty drinks until you get to the settings where it's the high-end restaurants and or if it's like a particular restaurant that it's known for its drinks, which I could tell you about that here in a minute. But in a saloon, in a nightclub, it's fast-paced, high volume, and all that matters at that time is how much you can turn, how many drinks you can turn in that minute. So with me being new, I was, of course, placed down on the other end. Now, what I loved about the saloon, y'all, we got in any saloon really that I've worked in a couple of nightclubs and saloons. Saloons are basically country nightclubs. And also too, with me usually being the only African American in the building, let alone on the staff. And on top of that, my name was Tequila. In all of these settings, just the simple fact that my name was Tequila has just been great for me, because people were just like, oh my God, your name's Tequila. And they're already drunk. So you're just making friends just because. But anyway, so in this saloon, we got to keep our own tips, and I had my own little corner. When I would just tell people that I was new, they most of the time would, it would never be any issues. They're just like, oh, it's okay. Like, people were so nice. And y'all, I had never made this kind of money in my life. On my first night alone by myself, I'm talking about out the gate, no experience. I lied on my application. $700. My very first night. I was like, wow. This is something. So the next couple nights, 800, 900, it just kept going up, especially as I kept getting faster and faster, and I realized what I was doing. I knew how to be nicer to the people. It just kept getting better and better. Y'all, I'm walking away with $1,200 nights. I've never seen this kind of money in my life. Educated, had an associate's and a bachelor's degree at this point, and at this point, also done traveled and done so many things. I never made this kind of money in my life. Even even as doing hair, like the most I've made doing hair was like $1,000 a day, and that's with the girls braiding. So to just slinging some drinks in just a couple hours and making this kind of money, it was game changer. I loved it, and I thought that I really was going to see myself in a career as a bartender. But as time goes on, it's still the same thing. You're still working for somebody. You're still, even though you're making money, like one of the guys that I worked with, he quit his job as an accountant just to work at the saloon that we worked at. And then he also had a day bartending gig as well. And he said he was making so much money that, he couldn't even see just going back to be anything else even as a certified accountant. But for me, like, okay, so in this situation, I loved working in the saloon. I had no problem with working in the saloon, but the resort was expanding, and they opened up a luxury side with a luxury restaurant. And they were taking some of the slower people, like the slower bartenders who were not used to being in the saloon. They were planting them over there because they were starting training from the ground up, because it was a luxury dining experience. So they brought in like professional trainers for this kind of restaurant. So I ended up going over there, and it had such a slow start, even though we were getting tipped based on like the ticket amounts of what people were ordering. It just wasn't the same. It wasn't high volume. It wasn't fast. And it was still brand new. So a lot of people were not coming there just yet. I'm sure it's doing pretty well now. But back then it was just not worth it. So I had to make a decision. I asked them like, hey, can I go back to the saloon? And they were pretty adamant, like, no, we need you here. And I'm like, well, I'm driving all this way. I'm not making any money. So I quit that. And then I moved on to the next type of bar that there was to work at. Now, let me put a pin in that. I also gained experience while working the saloon. So this is nightclub style experience. This is all one large resort. So they had like several different styles of bartending that I could do. So I got exposed on my very first foot out of the gates. I got exposed to so much that normal bartenders or normal people just breaking in wouldn't have been exposed to. I was very fortunate in that capacity because I got to see like a lot of stuff. So this resort would also host concerts. So I got to bartend at concerts. They would also host like organizational events. So a lot of like multi-million-dollar companies would come there and throw events for their employees and whatnot. So I got exposure to all of that in just one setting. So I ended up being there at that resort for like 6 months, and that really just opened my eyes and gave me a great wealth of information and knowledge. So I was driving an hour every day just to get there, and wasn't making as much as I was making in the saloon. They were pretty adamant, we're not going to put you back in the saloon. So I said, well, I got to go. So with that being said, I ended up moving on to another bar. So one of the friends that I met, shout out Lisa, one of the friends that I met when working at River Ranch, the saloon, her name was Lisa. And we both made the same decision because we were two of the newer bartenders that they had moved over to this luxury restaurant. So we both were thinking the same thing. Like, we're driving so far every day just to come out to work. We're not making any money. So we both were like, hey, if you're down, I'm down. I'm quitting. So we quit together. And we went hunting for jobs together, like two 30-something-year-old women, washed up baddies, going to look for bartending jobs together. But we did. So we went looking on, and we found this Irish pub where we both went in. And the girl who interviewed us, she was just the sweetest. She said, well, I only have one slot. And she kind of did like a dual interview right then and there. And based on that interview, she ended up calling me back. And Lisa went on to go to like another place. Actually, she went to the sister bar of the bar that I worked in. So we would both flip-flop. So she didn't get my location. She got the other location. But we both, so we would still see each other in passing all the time. And in the area of Winter Haven, Polk County, it's just a small, like, the bartending scene is very small. Everybody knows everybody. And there are lots of people, you would be surprised, just like drink on a daily basis after work. And I started making a name for myself as a bartender. I really did. Between working at that bar and flip-flopping at the other bar, I just started becoming well known. A lot of people knew me, and I had a unique name, Tequila, so everybody just knew me. And then on top of that, one of the regulars that would come in all the time, his mother had her own bartending business as well. So she was a mobile bartender, and it was her and her goddaughter, and they just needed like an extra hand. They were two African-American women as well. So me having the skills now at this point, I got 1.5 2 years in of bartending skills. So he told his mother about me. Next thing you know, now I got an extra side gig. And there we would do weddings. We would do events like the corporations. Again, all of this experience I had already had just working at River Ranch, because River Ranch had so many areas, so many sectors to it. So I got to work in all of those settings. So I was already experienced in working events, working clubs, working high-end restaurants. I was already experienced with all of that. So with that being said, between working at the couple of bars, the two sister bars, you know, bouncing back and forth between those, making great money, y'all. I mean, a 4 or 5 hour shift at best. I'm working a 6-hour shift and making $300 a day. You can't beat it. I'm only working a couple days a week. It reminded me of being a flight attendant all over again, but stationary. And at the time, that's exactly what I was looking for. I just wanted to have something that I could feel comfortable and say, okay, my bills are paid. And now at this time, y'all, I was living with my mother. Okay, so remember I told you in the last video, I lost the shop. I sold my house to buy the shop, and now we no longer have the shop. I'm not a flight attendant anymore. And a lot of people don't know this. I was actually living inside of the shop. So when I had to give the shop up, I was essentially giving up my home. Found myself at like 32, 33 years old, going to stay back with my mother. But thankfully, I have like one of those mothers who understands, and she was, you know, welcoming at the time. Every now and again, she'd be like, okay, when are you leaving? But she let me stay indefinitely until I could get on my feet and get to where I was going. So bartending, it was just like, I loved what it provided for me at the time. And what that was a sense of security and a sense of peace. And I felt like I could finally rest without all of the stress. Like, you don't, just like flight attending, you don't bring bartending home with you. You know, you make that last drink and you leave it at the door. Everything is left at the door. And this, y'all, I'm going to put an iPhone on my wish list because I can't take it anymore. My phone just keeps running out of storage. My God. And it's like, I don't want to delete a lot of stuff. I have so many memories, but let me stop talking so much. But anyway, what I was saying was like, bartending gave me a chance to really just get back on my feet and find my sense of self again. And with that being said, it made me realize like, okay, I know that I'm meant for so much more. Like, flight attending and bartending are like two of the most desirable jobs ever, especially here in the United States, because let's just be real, we don't like to feel like we're going to work. So it does afford you that opportunity of like living a unique lifestyle where you do not have to be tied down to a desk. You get to get out, you get to see people, you get to talk to people. And in some cases too, like I got to drink behind the bar. Like I used to have a blast bartending, but I knew that like, okay, I'm seeing the same, like eventually it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm seeing the same people every day. You ain't tired of drinking the same drink every day. How many Grateful Deads are you going to drink, Krista? Like, it's just too much. Like, even I'm tired and I love alcohol. I was a flight attendant, so like I love drinking. But it just got to the point where it's just like, y'all don't want more? And so that's where I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and go back to school. And that's where I finished my degree in aerospace sciences. And then once I was able to do that, I ended up getting a job in the school that I graduated from. So I did that. In addition, I kept bartending, and then I became a business consultant as well. And I started consulting a couple of businesses in addition to the young lady that I was consulting when I sold her the Blessed Tress. So I'm trying to think of if there's anything else I'm missing. Oh, I've had like a couple of weird situations. I guess that will like be more for the podcast, me telling you the specific stories about like specific things that have happened, like, you know, guns being pulled out in the club or fights and just all sorts of shenanigans. I think that would be like more of an individualized thing for my podcast, which will be coming up. It's going to be called Tequila. I think that just goes with the theme, don't you? Like, I think it goes. But anyway, you know, so like with that being said, like, bartending was something I highly encourage you to get into. It's so easy. Guys, if you don't have the experience, just lie. Even if you worked in a restaurant, they can't go back and verify, oh, you specifically worked as a bartender for this amount of time. If you have that restaurant on your record and you worked there, you were a bartender, okay? And it's really simple. So with that being said, y'all, before I let you go, I have a free guide. I have a free list of drinks, and I'm not trying to sell you anything at all. I do have a book called Bartending Basics for Bimbos, but you don't have to sign up to get it. But yeah, I feel like there's like a whole bunch I'm missing. You know, my alarm just went off. I usually get up at 3:30 and the 3:30 alarm just went off. And I haven't even been to sleep because I've been up just crunching content that I cannot wait to get out to you guys. So that's what I've been doing all this time. But I just feel like I'm missing so much. So in this particular case, can y'all just ask me some specific questions? I'll be happy to answer them for you. And yeah, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my website, tequilabrown.com. And check out my YouTube. We are on YouTube, Tequila. You see, I'm tired. I told you I'm tired. Check out my Amazon storefront and check out my Amazon wish list. If there's anything that you see on there that you want to get from me and you want me to review it here, just do that. It comes directly to me. So thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.